Welcome back to the Mr. GLOAT podcast. And today, guys, we are finally going downtown. And this time, it's going to be a doozy, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everyone. This is live from Mr. GLOAT podcast. And today, we have a doozy of a competition here of professional fighters. And most importantly, we have professional bowling. So, ladies and gentlemen, this year of 2026, we've already reported there's only 18. Let me just see if I got that right. 18. Let me see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 18 PBA Tour titles. So with the Players' Championship, with Brandon Bonta scoring a perfect game 300, but only got $10,000 in the title match, which is lame. Graham Fall wins his third title in the Pete Weber Classic. The U.S. Open for Patrick Dombrowski, longtime journeyman fighter that never had a chance to win a PBA champion and finally did. Anthony Simonson wins his first by a close 290 and a 279 score. What a wild game that was. Only a week later, Marshall Kent defeats David Crow by that low winning score of 152 to 136, which is crazy a week later. David Crow wins his third title in the USBC Masters. A guy named Spencer Rembarge would win the Ohio Classic. PBA New York would be a guy named Austin Grammer. And again, these are first-time winners. Like you have Zach Wilkins from Canada and AJ Chapman from USA winning the Marshall Holman doubles. Now we have an African-American named Alex Horton, the first guy since 1993 when another African-American PBA bowler became the TOC champion. And his name was George Braham III. And he won more than like 5 PBA Tour titles in his career. And even though a few years ago, we did have the USBC Masters where Patrick Dombrowski lost in the finals against Ron Booker, who was another person that we haven't noticed much since then. But it just goes to show you, these are some great PBA bowlers, and they've done a lot. Unfortunately, guys, all I can say is, for information-wise, this one's going to be an interesting one. And just to let you viewers know, I don't have a lot of information to talk about, so this might take a half an hour for me to talk about. I only have like 3 topics to talk about before I'm done here, but this is the information I have. So on May the 1st, which will be there, not May the 1st, on April the 29th, the World Series of Bowling will take place in the Brooklyn Park of what state? What's the state? Of the Mississippi River of Minnesota. Yep, we got that. Minnesota. We're going to take place to the Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, where on April the 29th, the World Series of Bowling are going to do the PT qualifications for our regional players qualifying for the tournament. So we're going to get that underway. And then each day they're going to do the cheetah, the chameleon, the scorpion, and the shark. They're going to put out all tournament wises, add up all the scores, and after that's over by the day of May the 9th, we're going to have the cheetah, the chameleon on the 10th. On the 11th, we'll have the scorpion, and on May the 12th will be the shark. And that's it. That's the end of the PBA, because after this, it's just going to be the end, because we're not going to have any more other PBA Tour qualifying seasons anymore, because after that, we're going to have to wait a full month. And by the way, the match play and finals are going to take place in Lakeville. So that's even crazier enough than it is. And you know what upsets me about this is that it's going to take us a full month, because on June the 13th will be the semifinals on CBS Sports. But then, because I think they're going to do a round robin, like a 9-seed tournament, and then the winner will take on seed number 4 for the PBA final, because after the CBS Sports is over, the same day they're going to go live on Finals CBS Plus on the same day. And this is going to take place in Allen Park, Michigan, where they're going to bowl for this $100,000 for the PBA World Championship. And that's just going to be ridiculous. We're going to wait a full friggin' month until that's over. No, I'm not buying that. Come on. I don't understand. And after this is over, there's only just barely just a one handful of tournaments left, because next week they're going to do the PBA Elite League for Battle of the Brands. They're just going to have multiple brands of Brunswick, Hammer, Storm, Roto, Grip, 900 Global, and Motive, with 14 single season events going on during the points. So they're not going to do PBA playoffs this year, and the PBA Tour Finals is going to change its name to the PBA Norm Duke, which is going to, because the PBA Elite League will take place in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and then the PBA Norm Duke Open will take place in Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania for the qualifying in the Bethlehem, and then Bethlehem Finals, because the tournament is already going to start on June the 15th to June the 19th for the qualification. 2 days after the PBA World Championship Major is the last one. And then 2 days later, 1 day after the PBA Elite, they're going to do the Norm Duke Open for the top 8 for Squad A and Squad B, and then that'll be it. Because after that, that's the end of PBA. It's over. Like August the 2nd, they're just going to do Bowl TV, because the PWBA are going to do nothing but Bowl TV, because females are just a waste of time. And it's upsetting to see that. So they're going to do the breast cancer awareness mixed doubles on July the 30th, do a couple day qualifications, have the top players compete by total pinfall. And on August the 2nd will be the finals in Houston, Texas for that. And then 4 weeks later, on August the 31st, will be the last tournament, which on August the 21st, about 19 days away, they're going to do the qualification in Helsingborg, Sweden. August the 21st to August the 30th will be 9 days and of tough competition. It will be live on the Storm Lucky Larson Masters. By that day on August the 31st, that will be it. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Because I was expecting Sean Rash to do something this year. Because, guys, I was really thinking Sean Rash was going to do a promising, might come up with something interesting. Because I was expecting something interesting to happen. Unfortunately, there was nothing interesting, in my opinion. But again, I really don't know what they're going to do, because, and guys, here's the thing. If EJ Tackett does not win one tournament in the World Series of Bowling, because I have a feeling if he becomes a 4-time, because guys, he's been a tough bowler every single year when going to the World Champions. So again, I can't expect him to win again. In all honesty, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. But again, when the world champion is over, good luck. Because even though he is capable to be in the Norm Duke Open, I don't know if he even has the opportunity to even become Player of the Year. Because if he wins 0 titles and becomes Player of the Year, that's ridiculous. Because you have a bunch of rookies in public right now, and they're just, it's ridiculous. And there's going to be more rookies just having it their way in the World Series of Bowling. They're more dangerous than these oldies in the division right now. So 2026 is becoming a wild year for these rookies to come in, and they're doing it. It's ridiculous. Like, people thought Brandon Bonta would be favored, and with EJ Tackett being a more active bowler, again, in 2023, he did this, like Anthony Simonson in 2023 became an active bowler. He went through all TV finals and made to every tournament, and he never even became Player of the Year. So I don't know. I just find it ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Still. So anyway, coming down live, ladies and gentlemen, the second topic we like to talk about before we get to the big one here. Oh boy, not him again. So guys, remember when Chavez lost against Jake Paul? Well, guess what? This is not good. None of this is good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't really know about this, and to be honest, I'm a little bit unaware about this. So, Julio Cesar Chavez, after he lost against Jake Paul, several months went by until January the 24th. He took on a 10-1-1 fighter, scored a fourth round TKO, and then he took on a 13-1 fighter named Johan Casido in April the 25th, just 2 days ago. And the guy was from Colombia. He had a great record. And then he took on a guy named Enver Yildirim, a former Turkish contender. And that guy beat the crap out of him last year in June in a round 3 KO for the WBC International Light Heavyweight. So Caicedo was just a waste of talent. So this was just an easy win for Chavez to get back to the rankings. He's ranked number 97 in the cruiserweight. He's now 23 years into his boxing career. And guys, his father, in 1980 to 2005, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fought 25 years straight. His son, even though he is a world champion, I really can't say he had a lot of promising in his career, but again, it's hard for me to even look back at this and just say this was deserving, because it's just hard for me to look at this and just say whether or not this was a deserving champion, because it was a pretty tough job out there. It was tough, because seeing Chavez trying to make it back to his comeback, and like he has 56 wins, 36 knockouts, 7 of his fights, 2 of them were knockout losses, 1 draw, and I think he also has a couple no contests in his career. Like, how many no contests? I think he has 1 no contest. Okay, there's one, 2009. Yeah, so he's fought 65 professional fights in his career. All I can say is if Cesar Chavez does actually get lucky and fight for something in 2028, because he's already at his time where he's already done for. Because Chavez's father was done after 2000, and he couldn't do nothing anymore until 2005. He suffered a loss by an injury, and that was it. So, yeah, actually, it's just pretty hard to comprehend on, because I think in my opinion, guys, Cesar Chavez has already bumbled his way out. Like, he's already, like, don't get me wrong, he could be an interesting opponent, but again, he could just be an easy opponent for one fighter to be in the rankings. Like, if someone does fight against Chavez Jr., which is possible, maybe a top contender will fight him, and it's just going to be a build-up to him. But considering Chavez never fought much in the top ranks as much of cruiserweight, so it's going to be interesting for me to understand what he's going to do, because I just don't see him boxing as much anymore. Like, he's 40 years old. If he does have a couple more years left, if he's going to fight 25 years just like his father did from 1980 to 2005, then who knows? Because Chavez Jr. from 2003 to 2028, what is his 25 years of boxing going to be? Because at this moment, I just find this to be hard for me to comprehend on. Because it's not that he's not good anymore. It's just the thing is, he started to act like his father. He was a hype job, just like how his father started hyping up so many fights in his career, winning against nobody fighters, building up wins after wins while he was champion. So, and even though, yes, Chavez Jr. is a champion, which, guys, how many times have you ever had a father that became champion and then you had a son that became champion? Because the only thing good about Chavez Jr. is that at least Chavez Jr. became a world champion, which is something that Chris Eubank Sr. might not be proud of, to see his son, Jr. and Harlem not being champion once in themselves. But again, I just find this one hard for me to pull myself together here. Because at the end of the day, because for whatever's going to happen, I will say, though, Chavez Jr. has to come up with something now or later. Pretty much. By the way, guys, we do have another fighter in boxing. He's actually in the super middleweight division, and his name is none other than Jacob Bank. And I would like to talk about Agit Kabayel, but I've talked about him so much. And even though with him trying to be patient and people pushing his luck that he's not going to fight Alexander Usyk, keep waiting, people are just ruining this guy's chances. Like, Agit Kabayel has fought for 15 years. Is he good? He's in the top rankings. He's not that bad, but he's a tough fighter. But again, he still deserves a title shot. There is one guy that I believe should deserve a title shot, and his name is from Denmark, Jacob Bank. So who's Jacob Bank? Well, Jacob Bank mostly is a Denmark fighter, 25 years old. He's fought since September of 2020, so he's fought for 6 years. 19 bouts, 11 by knockout, 111 rounds in his career with a 57.89% of knockout ratio. And here's the thing, guys, I do like about him. Like, Banks' career started out great. He took on a 1-0 fighter in his debut, dominated the fight, 2 rounds. He dominated a couple more fighters, winning all rounds. His 4th pro fight was against a 4-0 fighter, and he won all rounds. He took on a 9-0 fighter for the WBO Youth Super Middleweight vacant title, and by the end of round 7, the guy quit on his stool. So the first years of his career are not bad. So he went on, took on a 7-3 fighter, 8 rounds, won, and this was by the start of 2022. So a couple months later in June, he knocked out a 3rd fighter in the 3rd round knockout, took on a longtime journeyman fighter with a 37-1 record to score a 1st round knockout by the end of round 1 when the guy couldn't continue. And then in 2023, he defeated a fighter in a round 3 cornerman retirement, took on a 15-0 fighter named Rouse Vikans, which, looking at the guy's resume, his resume from the country of Latvia is not that promising to look at. Like, the guy did defeat an undefeated fighter 3-0 at the time. And he took on a 9-0-1 fighter in 2021 for the international light heavyweight WBC title, barely won, became intercontinental champ. But again, some of his resume wasn't that good. But again, Jacob Bank dominated him. And guys, all of these rounds were won by Jacob. Jacob was dominating every round that not one judge gave one single round to his opponent. And then 3 months later in September, or over 2 months in September, after June the 24th, he took on a 15-5 fighter, knocked him out in round 2, took on another guy in February the next year for the WBO European Super Middleweight Championship, or he fought for the vacant belt against Ralph Vickons last year in June. So this is his first title defense in February. Knocked him out in round 7 by KO. Won another fight by 8 rounds by decision in April. Won another fight 5 months later in September against a couple nobody fighters. He took on a 13-0 fighter to retain his global belt against Ibo Bialo, a 13-0 fighter, and he finished him by the end of round 4 by a cornerman stoppage. So at this moment, Jacob Bank was dominating the fight. He was throwing everything in. And then his first tough competition would took on the guy game against Damian Biaccio. This was on March the 1st. Damian Biaccio was a 17-0 fighter. And after 10 rounds, Jacob Bank retained his title and won the fight in 10 rounds by decision against this guy from Spain. The thing was, one judge had it 100 to 90. Two of the judges had it 98 to 92. So after 15 pro fights, his 16th pro fight became the first fight that he'd not won every round. So, again, did that cause him problems? No. He just continued taking on some contenders that weren't top contenders yet. Like he fought in September against a guy named Tyrone Zouge. Beat him easily in round 5. And then on January the 31st, he fought against IBF super middleweight champion William Skull. He got dominated in every round, and Jacob Bank decided to end him in round 12. He scored a late KO in the 12th and final round in 2 minutes and 37 seconds with 23 seconds left of the fight. The scorecards read all 110 to 97, so it was an easy win for Jacob. He won the fight with ease, and that's most about it. All you have to say about that. So with all that being said, this guy was good. His next pro fight he took on against was a 20-1 fighter named Paulinus DeJolominu just a couple days ago in Denmark. He dominated the fight, knocked him out in round 5 by KO to win. So it makes you wonder, he's already became a WBO regional championship. He's already dominated, winning a European super middleweight and WBO youth middleweight and the WBO global super middleweight. So you're thinking to yourself, this guy should get a chance to become champion. Well, unfortunately, that is not the case because the report states here that on May the 23rd, Hamza Shiraz will take on a past prime German fighter named Alim Bejic, 39-year-old fighter, on May the 23rd in the pyramids of Giza for the vacant title. So yeah, it does upset me that Jacob Bank might not be known to the public, but he should be taken seriously. This guy is a tough fighter. He should be that good of a fighter. Like Hamza Shiraz, yes, he's rated number 2 in the super middleweight. And Alim Bejic is rated, we don't know because he just got knocked out of the ratings about 12 days ago because he hasn't fought since last year in April the 15th. Again, this 39-year-old fighter, 29-0, 23 knockouts, 1 draw. There's nothing you can say about this guy that deserves a title shot. He's just an easy win for Hamza Shiraz to win a title because that right there is just done for. So yeah, yeah, all I can say is that I don't know. I really don't know about this. This guy, like, Jacob Banks should deserve a title shot. He should. He should get the opportunity. And even if he's not a good fighter as much, again, even though he hasn't fought out of his country, so we don't know how good he is in the environment, but I think he should deserve this opportunity to go straight into the boxing world. I think he deserves the opportunity for what he has to do. So I just find this one really hard to judge the fact that he deserves this. Again, I really don't know what to say about this. Technically, I really don't know what to say about this. I really don't know what to say about this. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be a tough competition out there. But again, I really can't say that this should be legit. But I will say this, though. Even though Jermell Charlo had an opportunity to fight for a world title, he messed that up. So now Jaime Munguia is now getting another opportunity to fight for the super middleweight championship against Armando Resendes, the WBA champion that just got the belt on January the 1st outside of the ring, thanks because of Terrence Crawford. So I really can't argue much about that. These fighters should deserve their opportunity, and Munguia, good luck. Good luck with this. Good luck with whatever he has, because there's going to be new opportunities. It's going to be a doozy. So, what do we have here? So, trying to find out new competition here. So, the final topic I already have in stored is going to be boxing at its highest. So, the professional boxing matches I'm paying attention to as of this year, I'm trying to. It's stated that Tommy Fury is going to box against Eddie Hall on June the 13th. Unfortunately, it's a Misfits boxing show, so I don't really know what to say about this. It's just going to be ridiculous for me to say to myself there's anything interesting about this, but again, who knows? It's a fight nonetheless. But again, I don't know how this is going to up Tyson Fury's brother, because Tyson Fury is ranked 133 in the cruiserweight, and again, he hasn't fought since last year on May the 9th, so seeing him being out of the boxing ring in the pro again is just ridiculous. This guy's 26 years old. He's fought pro for 7 years since 2018, so he's almost wasted a full decade of his career. Tommy Fury has to get himself together because he has to do something now or later, and I really don't know what to say about this. And by the way, guys, speaking about father and son and brother and family member, Bruce Seldon Sr., former WBA champion that lost against Mike Tyson the same night Tupac Shakur got shot when he was there at the event that time. Well, his son is 8-0, 6 knockouts, and he's going to take on his first legit tough opponent, which is going to be in Tropicana Hotel in Casino Atlantic City. And the 7-0 fighter he's fighting against is from New York, living in New York, born in New Jersey, 32-year-old Josh Popper, who's ranked number 244 in the heavyweight, while he, Seldon Jr., is ranked 251. So if he gets this opportunity to win the fight, because Bruce Seldon Jr. is 31 years old, and I want to give him good luck because he does weigh around 240 pounds, around under the 240 mark as best as he could. So, but at 6 feet tall, I will say though that he does need all the way he can get because Josh Popper is 6'3" and he goes around 230 pounds in his career as well. In his first pro fights, he was around 220 and 217 and over. So he has boxed his way, winning fights by knockout against nobody fighters. He already defeated a guy named Rydell Booker in April, 20 days ago in Nashville. So this is just going to be interesting to see what we're going to see here because Bruce Seldon Jr. needs all the luck he can get to box his way to competition as best he could. And I'm already trying to look at other professional boxers in America. Like we also have a guy from Kansas City known as the Iron Man named John Cantrell. He's 36 years old. He's ranked number 69 in the heavyweights, 17 wins, 16 by knockout, former IBF USBA Southern Regional heavyweight champion, or still current champion since December last year ago. But again, even though his opponent will be a cherry-pick fighter named Matthew McKinney, which I don't think it's going to be a good fight for him, we even have plenty of other championship fighters here in the boxing world. And I'm still looking forward to other professional fighters. And guys, I'm even supporting a female boxer in the bantamweight. She's a 23-year-old beautiful woman from Hawaii. Her name is Shara May Patricio. She has 9 wins, 3 knockouts. Her last win was a split decision against a woman that she should have won easily. She's ranked number 15. And even though she's boxed for almost 2 years now, and she's going to fight in July, good luck for this Hawaiian woman, because if this woman from Honolulu living in Waianae will try to push in, we'll try to see what happens, because it's going to be interesting to see what's going to take place while all these boxers are going in the rankings one by one. However, we also do have other reports from other boxers and other talented fighters. We're having failures, we're having this, we're having that. We don't know what is going on. From Lawrence Okali failing drug tests and many other professional fighters, we are seeing fights that are being canceled. We're having so much heat here. And guys, I'm going to talk about this for just a few more minutes until we get to the 40-minute mark, because I'm already done talking about everything right now for today, because I think the only thing I'm finding problematic for everything about this entire show is that whatever's going to happen, I don't know. I find it really hard for me to pick who is going to be in the championship, because what I'm seeing here is a lot of boxers in the division right now that are pulling themselves in. And I think what makes this interesting is that we have to try to force ourselves to keep ourselves going as best we could. Because this is what I have to say. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Do what you have to do to succeed as best you can. And try to understand that there'll be a lot of haters out there. But as long as you believe in yourself and you'll have friends out there that will support you, people will ignore the past and forget about what happened and let bygones be bygones. And even though it's going to be interesting because, like I said before, I've already made a bunch of comments online for everything else about eliminating and telling people to just delete the videos, delete everything about my past, because I'm not that you know who I was 2 years ago, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. So if Arslanbek Makhmudov and Lawrence Okali Pokimane, and many people from Emaru to Mizkif and everyone else, if these people can just wake up and most of these other people can just start ignoring their past, then we might see some new identities happening here, because something could happen and it could work as long as you forgive your sins and try to see what might happen when we're pushing our way forward. So for whatever's going to happen, it's going to be a difference. It's going to be, you can go along for the ride as best you can. So technically, whatever's going to happen, let's just try our best to go forward as best we could. So Anthony Joshua has already announced that he, on July the 25th, live in Saudi Arabia for Eddie Hearn Promotion, ranked number 8 fighter Anthony Joshua will take on 20-1 Christian Prenga, the ranked number 32 fighter in the world. He's ranked number 2 in Albania, who is not ranked higher than his opponent, Nelson Heisa, who's the 41-year-old fighter that's 24-0, and he hasn't fought since October. And that guy fought so many fights since 2022 to 2025. Now he's already going on a hiatus, so now we're expecting bad stuff to happen from him. We've already heard reports that he is now fighting in the division. Anthony Joshua is going to come back to fight his first legit opponent that he's never won legitimately since Otto Wallin in December 2023 was his last legit pro win. His wins against Francis Ngannou and Jake Paul were just a waste of time. And Daniel Dubois was his last legit opponent for the champion almost 2 years ago. So with all that being said and being helped on with Alexander Usyk, we also have Filip Hrgović taking on David Allen on May the 16th, which is going to be another show to be talked about as time goes on. We also have reports a couple days ago that that David Benavidez is open to fight Jai Opetaia in 2 years, which will be another interesting moment to talk about as we speak. Ramirez is preparing for his Benavidez fight as best he could. Again, it's going to be a doozy to talk about. That's all I can say. But with most of the talent and the fighters happening here all over the world, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be tough for me to judge who the better fighter is. But again, it's anybody's game. Again, we do have Riyad Murray, ranked number 30, is going to take on ranked 28, former IBO cruiserweight and WBC bridgeweight champion Kevin Lerena. We're going to have, again, a guy named Peter Milaz, ranked 39, living in Croatia. He's going to take on a random nobody in a few weeks. So, with all that being said, and also importantly, I think my only last thought about this, there is one last thing I can say about this. With all this being said in the boxing world, I think what's going to be interesting is that mostly we do have interesting, talented fighters in boxing. I think the only thing I'm finding it difficult is that the Americans have no chance. There's too many other countries, and British is the one being dominated by the bros of British fighters, so I will find this one to be tough. The last information I want to point out is that even though Yokasta Valle is already going to vacate her WBC belt if she defeats Lourdes Jurez on the Jake Paul MVP number 3 show on May the 30th for the WBC Light Flyweight Championship, she better hope that nothing will come across that WBC minimum weight championship, because a Japanese woman named Yumi Ishikawa has been interim champion since May of 2024. So if she doesn't get that belt, it's a waste of time. So it just goes to show you how unlucky every country is not getting their shot. So we better hope that Yumi Ishikawa becomes the WBC new champion, and we'll see what happens when that time comes. But anyway, we'll just hope that won't come. And if she does win that fight, then we hope she'll take on Evelyn Nazareno for the undisputed light flyweight champion and let bygones be bygones. So that's all I'm going to have to say about that. So anyway, I appreciate for all you people talking. See you next time, guys. Bye.